on work
And my
experience with
experience working in Nigeria,
yeah.
okay. So yeah, my name is Bless Me Ajani. I'm from Osho State, Nigeria. And then I did my undergraduate in Obafemi Awolowo University. I have background in microbiology, but I'm shifted into full-time public health from microbiology.
Wow.
So I worked a while in Nigeria before deciding to go to my master's in the Netherlands.
So when you were working there, like in what field, what company, or what hospital
Okay.
were you working?
So when I was working in Nigeria, I was working with Johns Hopkins University Center for Communication Programs. I was leading a project in Lagos State, which is focused on expanding access to contraceptives for adolescents and young people. And I was working on the project as a program officer, basically. So it was fully already into public health, really focused on sexual and reproductive health and rights.
Wow. So I think that gives us a good background on how you were able to navigate into that field from microbiology. So will you say that your work experience actually helped? Because moving into public health from microbiology, it's not 100% like related. It's just a segment of health sector. So will you say that your work experience was one which actually made a way into the public health?
You mean into my master's program?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe good to say that I had studied master's in public health at the Kit Royal Tropical Institute with a fully funded scholarship from the Netherlands government. Yeah, so the program I had applied for, which is the MPH program at KIT and Free University, is majorly, it's work experience is a major requirement.
Okay.
For the program.
So that means for all our viewers, they need to actually work on their work experience to make it align for them to be very competitive, right?
Well, yeah, for the program, yes. However, that doesn't work. That is not necessarily a criteria for all schools in the Netherlands. So maybe it's good to clarify that. There are some masters of public health that are focused on, they call it research masters. So if you just finished from university, you can apply to without experience. However, that is still demand.
Oh, we are sorry about an interference. Please mute devices. So let me just ask these few questions before I allow, because I can see someone is actually raising their hands. So let me just ask this: in applying to the Netherlands, what were the experience like? Like, what were the criteria? And before applying to Netherlands, was Netherlands your first option, or you just find yourself in Netherlands? How were you able to navigate to Netherlands?
Well, so for me, it was more about, I don't want to do my master's in Nigeria. I want to do it abroad. I wasn't, and I don't have money. So those were my two criteria. I don't have money, and I don't want to do my master's in Nigeria. So I was that was the focus. I was looking for who has funding for me. So I wasn't very particular about Netherlands, US, UK. I was just looking for funding, and wherever the fully funded masters was where I was going to go. And it was during the process of me trying to tell the whole world that I'm looking for masters. I want to do my masters, and I'm looking for funding. And then I stumbled on the Orange Knowledge Program Scholarship, which is sponsored by the government of Netherlands. And the main focus of the scholarship is around issues of sexual and reproductive health, public health, water and sanitation, justice and law, and food and security. So I
Wow.
had applied under the thematic area of sexual and reproductive health and rights and public health. So basically it wasn't, yeah, I didn't apply to so many countries or so many schools. It was just that school that I applied to.
Wow.
And I
You're
applied
among
just
the
for that scholarship. And
you're among the lucky few.
would say that. It is good. Well, that's probably the
Yeah,
good factor there. So yeah.
yeah, there's a God factor. Yeah, yeah. I acknowledge that. Yeah, so let's just ask this because there are many persons that have this notion that probably scholarship abroad is meant for first class, for maybe
Ah,
strong 2-1. So I believe probably you're among those like all those profile 4.5 or 5. Can you tell us about your how like a class of honor when
in
graduating from
fact,
Obafemi
very good
University?
question. So interestingly, I had finished from OAU with a 2-2.
Wow.
So so that's another interesting turn to this. There are scholarships that are not focused on academic prowess and more focused on work experience. So I mean, it's great to have a 2-1, it's great to have a first class, of course. If I had to turn the hand of time, maybe I would have done better, you know. But then the fact that someone didn't finish with a 2-1 or a 2-2 or a first class doesn't necessarily mean that there are no scholarship. It might reduces their options, but indeed there are scholarships, and people like me might probably want to look at scholarships around that run work experience, scholarships that are more into work experience than academic prowess. However, I mean, I would say that my work experience also really, really helped in getting the scholarship. But this scholarship doesn't care whatever you finished your undergraduate with, as long as you have like 2 to 3 years work experience. Yeah, you're likely to get it.
Okay. So what were the requirements for the scholarship?
Also, the major requirements for the scholarship is you must first have an admission into a school in the Netherlands before you can apply for the scholarship. So that's like the first stage. You cannot apply for the scholarship without an admission. And the second one is your application must be within the 4 thematic area that the scholarship is focused on in Nigeria, basically. And yeah, the second most important is that you must have work experience. And yeah, so the other thing is it would be nice if you're currently employed, because for this scholarship, your employer, there is a part of the scholarship that says that you must sign an employer statement somehow, but that's not a problem. It's not like a criteria. There are always ways around those things. But yeah, the most important thing is it must be under their focus thematic areas. If you are going to apply for the scholarship, the course you're applying to that you have admission from already must be from one of their focus area. And I know that in Nigeria, it differs per country, interestingly. So the scholarship is about the Netherlands government supporting the workforce of Nigeria, helping Nigeria to build the capacity of the workforce in Nigeria. And it differs in every country, even though it's the same scholarship, but the thematic areas they're focused on is different in each of the countries.
Yeah, so for when you're saying food security, are you talking about those in FST, that is food science technology, or those in agriculture, or any of the two?
Well, anything that, as long as whatever you want to study is focused on improving food systems, improving value chains, or improving food security, whether you are coming from agricultural perspective, whether you are coming from chemical engineering of food, whether you are coming from any perspective, that as long as whatever your course is in the master's level is focused on improving food systems, food securities, or value chain.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
irrespective of where your background is from.
Okay. So you're saying that the scholarship is orange what? Again?
Orange Knowledge Program
It's
scholarship.
basically a
Okay.
master is basically a master's program.
Yes. Oh yeah. So the Orange Knowledge Program scholarship funds only master's program, and I think majorly funds a 1-year master's program, and also funds short courses. So Netherlands, a lot of universities and institutes in the Netherlands run short courses for like one month, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. They also fund courses like that.
So what are the benefits of the scholarship?
Oh yeah, it's a fully funded scholarship. They pay for everything, including housing, tuition, yeah.
Okay.
And then they give you stipends to live by.
Okay, I think that's good and interesting. So let's go back. Someone raised his hands earlier. Can the person actually ask the question now? The floor is open to the person who raises her hands.
It's
Hello?
either everybody understand me or I have successfully confused everyone.
It can't be both. It will be one.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You finished your master's in 2021.
Yeah.
So you're currently still in the Netherlands, I believe. So
I think so.
What have you been doing in the Netherlands for the past 1 year?
Good question. Well, so immediately, just before I finished my master's, I had gotten a job at the institute where I finished from. Well, like more like a contract job, and after like some months, I got a more permanent role within the institute, basically.
Wow.
So yeah, so the good thing is that the job also comes with visa sponsorship, and I can stay in the Netherlands as long as I have the job.
That's cool.
And the job is actually something in the area where I'm particularly interested in. So yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, I have one more question. Does your scholarship cover, in case, I don't know if you're married or I don't know. So does your scholarship cover for your family?
Spouse.
Yeah, maybe your wife, you saw your husband and your son or daughter or something like that. And also for the job too. Already.
So good question. Well, I was not married when I got the scholarship, and I'm still not married, in case my husband is on this call. Anyway, that's on the lighter note. Yeah. However, I had colleagues that were married, and I know that it was difficult for them to even come with their children and their spouse. So maybe there was something more they could do, but the scholarship, the stipend doesn't increase whether you're coming with a spouse or you're coming with children. It is what it is. What they have budgeted that will be given to you is what will be given to you, irrespective of whether you are married with children, partner, or not. However, I understand that with the student visa, you can bring your spouse to the Netherlands, your spouse or your children to the Netherlands, even with your student visa. However, I also now understand, if I remember from one of my colleagues who wanted to bring her 2 children, one of the reasons why they probably couldn't continue with the visa application is because they had told them that that if she can afford to take care of the 2 children in the Netherlands, that means she can afford to pay for her school fees.
That's a shocker.
So, I mean, that is just one story in how many, right? But
I guess.
I always believe that you can always try something, basically. And it's also good to say that the Orange Knowledge Program Scholarship is not the only fully funded scholarship that runs in Netherlands. The Erasmus Mundus Scholarship also works here in the Netherlands, in most institutes in the Netherlands. And some of these institutes or those universities also have like scholarships, internal scholarships that they give to students. So yeah, there are a lot of
students.
scholarship opportunities in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So,
yeah, someone is asking a question that for your application, do you require IELTS or GRE or any tests, any proficiency tests?
So good question. It depends on the country that you're coming from, and it also depends on the institute or the university. But generally, I think that universities in the Netherlands do not require IELTS from Nigerians, because most universities or institutes in the Netherlands do not require. Anyway, my institute did not require IELTS for me as a Nigerian, but it did require from other people, and I think that's common with institutes in the Netherlands.
Yeah, there are two other questions. People are asking, what time of the year do they accept admission into the Netherlands? And I think the second is the means of communication. Is it in English or in Dutch or what language?
Good question. So the Netherlands is a Dutch-speaking country, and the school in Dutch. However, they have institutes and universities that run English taught courses. So that's the first thing to check when you want to study in the Netherlands. Is this course taught in English language before you apply? So most of the universities are trying to run more English taught programs. So my program was an English taught course. Oh yeah, taught masters.
Yeah, so when in the year do they roll in admission? Is it anytime? Is it a rolling based admission?
So I think that you can apply any time of the year. So they accept applications around the year, I think. However, while you are applying, you can already choose the session that you want to resume or not.
Okay.
Yeah, and so depending on the course, they accept admissions in September and also in September, which is fall, summer, fall, yeah, and then in January.
Okay, I mean it's just like the US too.
January, January, February, I think.
Application fees like how much?
So that's very interesting. My institute / university did not require application fee from me. For whatever reason that is, I don't know, but some other universities in the Netherlands require application fee, and it also depends on the course.
Like how much? Do you have a range, the amount of application fee?
I don't know, because my institutes, they don't ask people for application fee, so I wouldn't know. But I know that some other universities request application fee, but maybe always around 100 euros, 70 euros. I'm not very sure.
Okay. So yeah, the question from me. Now that you are working, will it be easy for you to invite? Let's assume you're in a relationship now. Will it be easy for you to invite as a working class person now compared to while you were students?
Oh yes, of course. Like with my highly skilled, so I have like an highly skilled migrant visa, or residence permit at the moment, and so with my permit, I can bring my family, as long as I can afford to take care of them. Very easy. I can also bring my partner, but we have to be registered partner. We have to be legally registered boyfriend and girlfriend kind of stuff.
What, like registered boyfriend and girlfriend? I don't
understand. Like married certificates.
No, I don't think so. It's something else.
Oh, so yeah, in the Netherlands there are legal partners and marriage and marriage. So they recognize. I can make argument that this person is my partner and we are not legally married, but we are legal partners.
Wow.
As long as I can establish that we do have a relationship. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I think we have a lot of questions and run out of time. So I think someone is asking if the same procedure is similar to that of Germany, but I think it's quite different. And I want us to tell us about the visa process. I think admission is first thing. Some schools, even though you have the admission, you have scholarship, they may still deny you visa, like some countries where they are at the embassy. So I want us to talk about your visa experience.
Visa experience.
And also, lastly, I think someone is trying to reach out to you. And
what means, how can they reach you?
Exactly. So probably you can give me your email and I send it to them, or you can just tell them by yourself. Then I think lastly, I think many people have several questions for you. So I think the best we can do is if you can send the questions to me directly, then
okay. So I think one basic question that people are asking is, how about the PhD program in Netherlands?
Yeah. So good question. PhD programs are very interesting in Netherlands. There are two ways you can get a PhD program. First, PhD is like your 9 to 5 everyday job. That's the way they run PhD program. So you apply, they post the application like a job for a PhD student. So you apply and you're paid, and then of course you run your PhD alongside. And then if you want to do your PhD, but there is no job vacancy PhD, you can offer to pay your school fees and pay for everything. So those are the only two ways you can run a PhD in Netherlands. And talking about the visa application process quickly. So my visa application process was very seamless, but sadly, Netherlands does not have like a big consular or embassy in Nigeria. So we had to either go to Benin Republic or Ghana. That's still very strange to me, by the way, to do our biometrics and apply for a visa. So the school in Netherlands that you have applied to, we apply for your visa on your behalf.
Okay.
And they will send you your temporary MVV letter. That's what they call it. Request for MVV. That's the the immigration officer in the Netherlands have signed, which gives you access to which one is not expected to take to the embassy with other requirements just for biometrics and all of that. They didn't really ask me interviews and all of that. I also think it's because of the scholarship, maybe. But I believe that if you're going by yourself, maybe not by a government-sponsored scholarship or something, they might ask more questions about sponsorship and how you intend to feed or fend for yourself, basically. Yeah.
Okay. So let me just paraphrase the way you've responded so far. You sounded more like, just correct me in case I'm not speaking it the right way. You applied to a school before applying for the Orange Knowledge Scholarship, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you get your admission first before applying for the scholarship.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, the school will send you your documents and the government scholarship. Then you go to the embassy to just drop the documents. Okay. So I think, yeah, will you be willing to share your contacts, like your email, or you send it through Scholar Adedamola?
Yes. People should feel free to send their questions to Adedamola. And it will get to me like that.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot then. I think we are very glad to have you around. Before you go, Vicky, are you ready to ask a question or has been attended to? Because I know you have your hands up. Oh, okay. Nice having you around. Thanks a lot for creating the time to join.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. And I hope that I've convinced a lot of people to come and study in the Netherlands. Huh?
Yeah, you've convinced and not confused us. Thanks a lot, man. We're glad to have. Yeah, Faith Mohammed, Scholar Faith Mohammed, are you there?
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. I want to UK. How you doing now? How's the weather? Hope you are blending now.
Yeah, it's fair today.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear. Yeah, so can you kindly introduce yourself just for our viewers to have a good background about you?
Okay.
So can you just tell your name, your academic background, your research experience prior to coming to the UK?
Okay, I'm Faith. I am Mohammed. I studied microbiology in my undergraduate, and
Why are we having all microbiology? So guys, I want to dominate the world. You can continue, please. Sorry for interrupting.
yeah, and science laboratory and technology doing my Hindi. So then what's the next question you asked? I've forgotten.
Work experience, academic
Yeah,
background.
work experience. Yeah, I have several work experience starting from my ND intern. So I had work experience with UCH, the UCH hospital, then for the sideways, then internship experience with international Nigeria Institute of Science Lab and Tech. That's Samonda. Then I had another one in UHI. That's an HMO, Earth Maintenance Organization, for 1 year. That's my NYSC. Then I have another experience with International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, ITA.
Yeah, so I would say you have a larger chunk of work experience. I wish I can be like you when I grow up.
Ah.
So before applying to the UK, did you apply to other countries? And what was it like before finally deciding for UK?
Yeah, I can say I applied during my NYC period, and then I did not really have more understanding about scholarship application. So it was one of my mentors that introduced me to it. So when he started sending me the link, I don't take them serious. I just apply for normal sake. So I applied for Commonwealth and Chevron and other scholarship then, Wagwingi scholarship then. Well, the one I put my mind and energy into was the Mashopa scholarship. That was 2020.
So I would just let us say you were UK focused then. If you're talking about Commonwealth, Chevron, that means you love UK right from time.
Well, I am flexible. I'm not rigid because when I applied for the Mashopa course in 2020 and Corona setting and everything is differently. So I started looking for other opportunities and I applied to different countries,
Like
Australia, USA. I didn't apply to your country because because of language barrier. Well, I applied to several US schools and UK schools, Netherlands schools, and how like that.
Yeah, before we go into where you were admitted, I were always finding yourself at a point whereby you will be on the reserve list. So what do you think actually happened? Why?
I didn't get that.
I said I knew most of because I've been following you from time. Most of your applications, you end up being at the reserve list. So you finally got this. So what could you say was the issue? Why probably did you made it to the final decision? What probably could have happened?
I don't know what happened because I thought I had an issue then. But when I got here, I know this is where God wants me to be. That was why I was not getting other ones.
Okay, so let's go into admission proper. Most of us know that getting admission in the UK is not as stressful, but getting a fully funded scholarship is not something we come by always. Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how were you able to secure a fully funded scholarship in the United Kingdom? And then can you just guide us through on how you're able to secure a fully funded scholarship?
Like I said, when I applied, I was a novice. I was not an expert. So I just, it's my mentor that sent me the link for the.
So that mentioning mentor, won't you be my mentor like this?
No, you're always my mentor now every time. I'll still run out and ask questions. So he just sent me the link that day and I go through the link and I checked the requirement. It was school application alongside with the funding application. So I just applied, and that was it.
So, like, in case I want to apply to the UK and I want to get a fully funded scholarship, so how will you guide me? Someone who has gone through that path. Let's say I'm applying to a school, because like now I have friends who get like 6, 7, 10 scholarship admissions in the UK, and scholarship is actually the fully funded scholarship is the problem. So how will you advise? How do you navigate into getting a fully funded scholarship in a university in the UK?
Yeah, getting fully funded scholarship in the UK, I think, is based on the school, because if one values the school site very well, there are many opportunities on the school side. Because this my Marshall Purpose scholarship is restricted to like two I think like 4 or 5 schools in
Four
UK.
universities, yeah,
Four
Royals
universities in UK.
University, Upper Hams
Adams,
University, what are two
Reading,
schools?
University of
Ring
Reading.
universities, yeah,
Yeah.
and then
So,
what other school
and
like that?
there are other scholarships like that that are particular to different schools in the UK. Talking about the Gates Cambridge scholarship is fully funded for African students, for international students rather. So it's particular to the school. So you apply alongside with the school application. Talking about there is one John Hinn Center, they have a scholarship for international students for research. So you have to peruse their page to know where the scholarship is going to be held. And we have Rhodes Scholarship too for international students. So basically, you have to go through the school's website to gather information on their funding opportunities. You just go to the funding section, you see the French funding there, you see the fully scholarship fully funded scholarship for international students, you see for local students, the UK students, and for different countries. So while you are looking into schools to apply to, you have to use their funding page to be able to see if they have funding for international students. I think I've answered that question perfectly.
Yeah, so please, can you just mention those scholarship earlier mentioned? Someone is just saying that, please, just can you mention those scholarship that are on the university website?
Yeah, for my school, we have different scholarship on the university website. But the one for international students is Marshall Purpose Scholarship. Marshall Purpose Scholarship. But when you get to the school, when you get the admission, there are other scholarships. There are other fundings that are open, but they might be £5,000 funding or more than that. Then we have John Hinn Center. It depends on your field. All the funding depends on your field. We have some scholarship basically for technology. We have some for, it depends on your field, your area. So I'll say you just use the page and see the scholarship in line with your career field.
Okay.
So we have John Hinn Center. They have many scholarships for research on their page too. We have Rhodes Scholarship. We have this Gates Cambridge Scholarship. So you just make use of your page to select the one that will be perfect for you.
Okay, I'm sorry for the when you're talking about going through the scholarship, like for your application, would you say there was a requirement for proficiency test of English?
Yeah, when I applied for proficiency, there was test of English, but I used my WAEC results and English proficiency from school. That was what I used.
From FUNAB, right?
Yeah, from FUNAB.
Okay. So what you're trying to say is that applying for those scholarship does not really mean you need to have your IELTS or TOEFL.
Yeah, there are some schools that require IELTS or TOEFL, but I can say I'm among the lucky one, because when one of the alumni, Femi Farmer, when I told him I used my WAEC and he was he was yet to about Adams was like, wow, how does that happen? So I can say I'm among the lucky one that used my WAEC for the admission, but there are some schools that will require IELTS, but if you can provide your school English proficiency, I think that one would be better too if you don't want to do other exams. Because I always run away from IELTS exams and like.
Okay, so let me also ask this question. I'm coming. Okay, for your application, hope it's not based on having a class. Hope it's not based on having a first class. Probably being among all those 4 point something.
Let me laugh at myself first. First class, for me. I'm praying to God I have brain. I didn't have first class. I finished with 3.72. So, and most of my applications, I didn't. It was not. I think it's based on the work experience I had, and before I started application, I had one publication. I think that gave me like a edge of other people.
Your one publication has 26 stations. Yes, that actually still helped a lot too.
But when I applied, my paper wasn't published. It was just a review state, but I stated it in the application.
Okay.
So yeah, so thanks to her around Scholar Michael Aregbeshola. Yeah, before I start asking questions, I'll just say shout out to you. Happy birthday, sir. Wishing you long life and prosperity. And we are glad you could honor with your presence. Though today's your birthday, you should be doing you should be in the festive mode for having you around, sir. We will still come to. So let's just have the two of you together, then people can ask questions since both of you are people from the English people. So let's have you, Scholar Aregbeshola. Can you just introduce yourself briefly? Tell us your name, your academic background, your work experience, and relevant research experience prior to coming to the UK.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm Michael Aregbeshola, and I am a 2020 Commonwealth Share Scholarship at the University of Bristol. Commonwealth Share Scholar, sorry. Okay. Can you see my face?
We can now.
Yeah, I'm connected. Okay. So I'm a Commonwealth Share Scholar at the University of Bristol, 2020 scholar, and I studied development and security at the University of Bristol. I completed my study in 2021. So proud to go into United Kingdom. I had my BSc in political science, first class honors, University of Ibadan, and my second master's, or my first master's, sorry, from the University of Ibadan as well, political science, and I specialized in international relations. And subsequently, I went to England at the University of Bristol to have my second master's in development and security. So proud to winning the Commonwealth Share Scholarship in 2020. I had published a couple of literary articles on academia.com. So one of those papers, was one of the papers I used, to apply for the scholarship in 2020, which I won. And so here we are. Basically at the moment, I'm running an educational consulting, organization specializing in professional educational services. So that's what I do for the moment. I'm the principal consultant at High Achievers Global Consult. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. So I would like to ask that, proud to applying to the United Kingdom, what other countries were you applying to, and what was the issue before finally deciding to go to the United Kingdom?
Well, basically, I think I applied to Germany, Germany, I think the United States. But I actually, went back to United Kingdom because I found a course that really aligns with what I wanted to specialize in. I wanted to specialize in security, governance, and development. That's my, area of research interest. Unfortunately for me, I applied to an admission at the University of Bristol for development and security. I was given the admission, and I was fortunate to also get funding for that very admission. So that was very good for me since it aligns with my research interest. So that informed the reason why I went to the United Kingdom.
Okay. So in applying to the United Kingdom, what were the documents that actually did you use any fancy documents like BITS, TOEFL, or have you write any exams?
Okay, yeah. When I applied to the University of Bristol, I was required to submit IELTS. Yes. But fortunately for me, prior to this time, I had served as a Teach for Nigeria fellow for 2 years. And my engagement all through the program was in English language. And also, I studied in an English language, university. So on those two premises, I wrote to the university and I told them that I'm very much qualified to receive the waiver for IELTS. And I also sent a letter from Teach for Nigeria to them that my engagement at Teach for Nigeria was in English language. So on those two premises at the University of Bristol.
Okay, thanks, sir. So while applying the program, I saw a post because you are my friend, so I should be open to ask questions from that point of view. I saw a friend celebrating you, I think 2019 or 2020, was celebrating you that you assisted in his application on Commonwealth. You didn't win that year. So does that mean that you applied earlier before you were finally given the second year? Was that your first time of trial?
Oh, yes. I had not applied to Commonwealth Share Scholarship when he approached me for that scholarship, and I actually helped in helping him to review the essays which is submitted for that scholarship. And aside that, I also connected with a senior colleague who also helped in reviewing the essays which is submitted for the scholarship. So which informed his selection for that scholarship. So I think on those premises, maybe that was why he acknowledged my
okay, so I actually presume probably you've applied earlier.
No, I have not.
Because I always see many people now, many complaints like this was my second or third trial for getting the stuff. So about the Commonwealth scholarship, I know they are applying one time get it. I'm not probably among the best like you guys. So among those things that are required, there are many essays to write. What are the basic things that convince those body in securing the scholarship? What are the major things to look out for, like that should strengthen in your application material?
I think thank you for that question. One of the key things I would like to say in that respect is you must know what exactly you want to do, and you must be able to justify why you want to embark on that very research. For example, I applied to a Department of Development and Security, and I have a research interest that aligns with the research interest of that department that very year. So it was very easy for me to attract their funding. For example, my research was on the politics of farmer-elder relationships and the Nigerian states. That was the, what do I call it now? The research statement I wrote on while I applied to that scholarship. Unfortunately for me also, that was the topic I researched on for my MSc thesis at the University of Bristol. And this department has interest in sponsoring or in funding any research interest that aligns with security matters. So for me, it was a plus. I got in. So when you are applying to any university, to any particular department for this particular scholarship, you must ensure that the research you want to conduct aligns with the research interest of that department. So that will make it easier for you to attract the attention of the key faculty members who are reviewing your applications.
Okay, let's just go into some of those. Can you still remember those? I wish I could check into, because I saw your documents, all those things you used then when I was applying then. Can you still remember one or two questions that they asked? Because I know those things they are something you can't lie about, and you must be able to confirm. Can you remember like 2 or 3 of those questions? So that let's just use that as an example to guide people that probably wants to apply for the Commonwealth next time?
Well, one of the very key things which I know I remember in that application was that I'm trying to connect, the dots together. Or let me say, when you are writing, essays for this scholarship in particular, ensure that what you are planning to study on, we have presence in what you will plan.
I think that's Nigerian network calls, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we can I have a question for Ms. Faith Mohammed. I don't know if you're married. I think when you're telling us about your scholarship, you're a bit like very fast.
Okay.
For me, don't talk to me as a novice. Like people like go to UK to like study, but on their own funding. And most times I've applied to UK scholarships, and at one time I was on a reserve list, and the number of international students they always attract like about they tell you like top tier like 3% or total. We are giving like 15 people admission, so 3 to 5 of them will be international students. So like he said, like what do you do different?
Yes.
You made mention like I know first class, you had work experience, even your paper was not published before then. Like there are some certain things they're looking for with a scholarship that you may even know. Like the last speaker spoke about our work experience being something that stood out for like a 1-year master's program. And also she also got a job afterwards. So what make your application different from others?
Thank you for that question. What I think made my application different is because in my statement of purpose, I stated that I'm passionate about food security, and the funding is more of like promoting African students who have interest in food security. I think that was, and I mentioned in that in Nigeria is rare for female to go into agriculture. I think that statement made my application stand out. And another thing is that they asked for different work experiences. And I mentioned the Nigerian Institute of Nigerian Institute of Science Lab and Tech, where I worked in biology lab. So I mentioned what I did in the lab, and my experience was a broad experience.
Yeah.
I have computer like IT experience. I had IT experience then. I had laboratory experience, I had medical experience, and I'm able to prove to them that I'm willing to go into food security in order to improve food security in Nigeria. And that's their main interest. I think that was what made my application stood out, because when I got here, we were told the 2 people in Paradigms that were selected, we were told that they had over 100 applications, and we were the 2 lucky people that were selected. And the other lady also mentioned that she has a farm, and she's the manager of a farm. So the scholarship is around agricultural based knowledge. They want you to promote agriculture in Africa. So I think measuring your interest in food security made our application stood out.
Thank you.
Answer the question.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you're done. Yeah, that was for those in agriculture. Like, do you know anybody in your school that study anything outside agriculture, maybe science or like law, that gain admission the same time you did? And can you tell us about your experience too? And in case
I think your funding hello.
Yeah.
I think your funding is based on agriculture.
Yeah.
Do you know any other funding that's not non-agriculture? Because I know
My
your school
school
is more
is
into agriculture.
basically on agriculture. So it's just like we are talking about FUNAB. FUNAB doesn't have law in Nigeria. So I have law faculty or law department. So my school is basically on agriculture. So I don't know anything other thing about aside like outside agriculture field for now. Or later I might have the knowledge.
Okay. Scholar Michael Aregbeshola, are you online?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay. So back to your question. I think in something before the network. Can we have you?
Yes.
Yeah, you were saying something about, okay, I think you've answered that question. So why applying, did you mention you have masters before? Because I know most of them they might not want to encourage a second masters, have one for, or how were you able to convince them that despite having the knowledge of the first masters, that this second masters will make you better off?
Well, the honest truth to say is I didn't state my first masters while I was applying for the scholarship. I didn't state it. So I simply stated my BSc, and I also emphasized on my research interest that aligns with the departmental research interest. So I think on those two premises, those are the reasons why I selected for the scholarship. So I didn't state my second master. I didn't state it in the what is it called, in the application. And it is also not so necessary, because if it were to have been that I had gotten the scholarship, I mean the masters from a Western country, it should have been a reason. There would have been a reason for me to have stated it, because it's one of the requirements that if you have gotten a master's from another country outside an African region, you must give a justification for that. Well, I didn't study outside Africa, so I didn't justify my first master's.
Okay. So okay. I think the floor is open for questions for those that are interested in applying to the United Kingdom. So I just want you, as you're asking your question, just tell us the particular person you are directing your questions to. So I think there's a question for you, Scholar Faith. Someone said, is there an application fee to your school? Because I know most universities in the UK don't require application fee. Scholar Faith?
There was no application fee. And yeah.
Okay. Is there a question, please? Please, let's ask questions from these ones.
Yeah, can I just quickly add something?
Okay, you can.
Yeah, I got this my funding in 2020, but the funding was deferred due to COVID in 2021 and for 2 years. So during that 2 years, I know you know my story. I've applied to different schools, and I had several heartbreaks. And so I would just say that I would just advise people that are trying to apply for funding or for scholarship to just advise them to apply to spread their tentacles, to apply to several schools at the same time. Because mine was a lesson, because I just applied for that school, and the second year I didn't apply for any other school. And they gave me another heartbreak to wait for the next year. So I will advise them to spread their tentacles, apply to different schools, and they should not put all their eggs in one basket.
Okay. So I think one is asking a question. Let me see if the question is directed to anyone. Someone is asking that, did you use your ND and BSc transcripts for your application at Scholar Faith?
Yes, I use my ND transcript and my BSc transcript.
Okay.
But when I was applying, I don't have this transcript yet. So there is one result they always like when we check our results, they upload our results online in the university. So then, in the university portal. So I collated all those results for the 4 years. So I made them on a PDF and I used that for my transcript before getting the transcript.
Wow, lucky you. You're a lucky woman. Well, yeah, someone is asking here. He said, I have a second class lower in agriculture and a master's in social work, community development. I have 4 years work experience in relevant field. What are my chances in getting a fully funded scholarship in food security in the United Kingdom? I believe this is directed to you, Scholar Faith.
I can't say. Well, I believe the chances, anything you believe will work for you, work for you. But despite the fact that you have work experience related to your field, I think you have like 80% chances of getting scholarship in the UK. If your experience really align with what you're applying for.
Okay, with a funding. So what you're trying to say is that they should look out for funding that perfectly aligns with their work experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll be able to convince them that you have interest in the field.
Okay. Yeah, someone is asking Scholar Michael Aregbeshola. He said, what do you mean by essay for scholarship?
Oh yeah. Let me answer that question. I think I get what the person is trying to say. So, for common share scholarship, you have to apply to the schools separately, and you also have to apply for the scholarship separately on different websites. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So when you are applying for the admission, you only need a personal statement, for your admission. But when you are applying for the scholarship, that will be funding up to like 30,000, UK pound. I mean, yes, 30,000 pounds. So you have to write a lot of essays. For me, I wrote 18 pages for all of the essays I wrote for the scholarship. 18 pages. So you have to justify why you are fit for the scholarship. You have to justify your interest, for the scholarship, and of course your interest for that very, course that you want to go and study, and of course your interest, for the school or for United Kingdom. You also have to justify what you'll be doing with the skills and knowledge you would have gotten having studied, in the United Kingdom for 1 year. So those are the things you have to write essays for. And for you to get the scholarship, you must write all of the essays and submit them. So that's what I meant by essay for scholarship.
Okay, but basically you first apply to a school, you get admission before applying for scholarship too, right?
Yes, you must apply. While you are applying, anyways, let me state this: when you are applying for the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, at least if you have not completed your application, try to have started your application so that you would have gotten a reference number, which you will need to quote in the scholarship application when you are submitting scholarship application.
Okay. So you encourage that applying should apply to more than how many schools in UK before applying to?
Yes, that's a very good question. I applied to 8 schools. Let me state this: I applied to 8 schools for admission. And how it operates for Common Share Scholarship is that you also have to apply to those number of schools for their scholarship. Because, yes, that are under Commonwealth, that are in partnership with the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission.
Okay.
So because the Commonwealth Share Scholarship is a type of scholarship that is being funded by the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission in the UK and by the individual UK schools who are in partnership with the CSC. Is that okay? So I applied to the 8 schools for admission, and I applied to the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission for the scholarship to those 8 schools who are also in partnership with the CSC. And out of the 8 schools that I applied to, 2 of them gave me full funding, to come and study in the university. I know in the UK, that is University of Bristol and University of Birmingham. and I chose to go for University of Bristol on the basis of my research interests.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. Yeah, so I think we have a lot of questions here. Let me check. Scholar Mola, you can help me.
Oh yeah. The questions are just like frame out because you're out of time already. I think one person is asking if they can have access to SOP, PS personal statement, and if you can share us. I think our school website I shared that earlier, so I think I did already. So you can check through the chats. Someone is asking. I think that's all. Yeah, that's pretty all. Yeah, transcripts. Like, did you upload the official transcript after you get them from school, Scholar Free?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's done. Then I think someone is asking she finished with a 2-1, but she studied human resource management, but she has not done or he has not done any form of research, only first degree projects. Is he or she eligible for scholarship? I think generally, yes.
I would advise parents to go for
work on it.
So also can also volunteer in something related to the field. I will encourage people that to secure scholarship, they need someone that little experience, just having zero experience. So in my own opinion, I would probably encourage the person to relate your chances. Or what do you feel? Let me direct the question to Arebeshola. That you're just graduating and you have little experience. What will you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it is advisable the person volunteer. For example, I finished my master's, my BSc in 2015. I finished my master's in 2017. But between 2015 and 2017, I served as a research assistant to a senior professor in political science in my department for 2 years. So that is 2 years research experience. After my master's in 2017, I also went to a local community, to serve a local community in education, for 2 years again, contributing to educational equity. So on the basis of those 4 years experience, I was able to, prove to the, scholarship committee that I have at least 2 years, research experience. That's one. I was also able to prove to the scholarship committee that I have 2 years community development experience. So those 4 years experience cannot be ignored. So it is advisable that if you have just graduated and you have not yet, gotten an appointment for a job, try to volunteer or serve as a research assistant to a senior academic in your department. They contribute to eventual winning of a scholarship.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I believe most of the questions have been answered, and in the absence of any new questions, I would like to employ us all that these sort of webinars would not be. We still have other sessions, other series of the webinar. We'll be covering up fully funded opportunities in Israel, in Australia, in Canada, and South Korea in subsequent weeks. So I will encourage that please be stay tuned. I would make known when and time for these programs that we'll have in subsequent weeks. And please, I don't want us all just to be listening to all these tips that's been given by these scholars. I will encourage us to start sending the cold mails, start applying, start utilizing all the information that's been given by all of these scholars. And also, I think the link to our YouTube channel is on the chat box, so we can to watch the channel. And what we have today will also be today. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more updates on each of our webinars, and please join the webinar so that you can ask your question in person and your questions can be attended to. The goal of this webinar is to have many young ones get across, navigate their way into fully funded opportunities. And please don't self-reject yourself. When I mean self-reject yourself, it means don't believe in the fact that I have a 2-2 or probably I have a 2-1 that can secure a funding. There is always a university that suits your profile. And in doing that, please ensure day to day you add value to yourself by volunteering. So at this point, I would appreciate all our speakers. Bless me, Ajani. Thanks for having you around.